Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to Star Trek again. Decidedly not Star Wars, and that is, honestly one of relatively few blessings in a otherwise unimpressive episode. Like, there's nothing particularly bad about this one, except certain boring parts, but there's nothing really stand out either. It's what you might call filler.
Definitely an episode where they take a more whimsical approach, and it's some of it falls a bit short. I'll say that much.
Again, yeah, it's not bad. And to be fair, this was an episode that they needed to make. They need that relatability episode where you get to start building a bit more of a relationship with some of the characters, with the focus today being on Spock, who is, for the, I think, 754th time, worried about his human-Vulcan mix.
Yeah, that's just something that kind of feels, I don't know, to me at this point it feels like it's kind of like it's run its course, like we've done this before. I get it that this is like a prequel series, so it's like it's gotta cover it because back then he was even more, uncertain about himself. But it's one of those things where it's like it's been treaded before, we've been here before, and here we are yet again.
Yes, it's not exactly new ground, to the point where it's so damn blatant. It begins with a dream sequence where Spock shows up for his official wedding ceremony with T'Pring, and then suddenly goes like, "My ears, they're round, I'm a human now," and T'Pring's like, "Ew, disgusting bestiality," and then Spock fights Spock. Because, of course he does. To be fair, it's even commented on as like, fighting myself is illogical. This is a dream. Okay, kind of funny, but
yeah, I did. They did play some of the old that scene I liked. Mostly it was corny, but it was very much a throwback to a lot of those scenes where in Star Trek they have a duel, and there's lots of duels in Star Trek where there's hand-to-hand combat, they're fighting in some archaic weapons and stuff like that. And it even plays like that old classical brr, brr, music. Like it was kind of funny. Part was kind of funny and mildly amusing, but it was very much, oh god, Arch didn't like the Vulcan weapons, and I'm sitting here going like, God, I can't wait till I see the Batla or whatever the fuck it's called for the Klingons, because like that weapon doesn't make any sense, Kips. It's like no, it doesn't. It's a stick with a half moon blade on it. Yeah.
The whole thing was perhaps a pinch trite, shall we say? But again, Spock has been useless this entire show, so it's nice to see a little bit of focus on him, where he isn't completely worthless. Like, he does a thing, he does a job that T'Pring was sent to do, he brings in a balding man to the re-education camps, and T'Pring, who is inside of Spock's mind, because they have one of those weird-ass sex scenes from the Demolition Man, and they switch their minds with one another, which hijinks ensues, as they apparently put it.
Yep, they even say that I'm like a Spock's girlfriend to him, and it's like, I'm not a fan of hijinks.
Mm-hmm. And this is also because Spock and T'Pring are like, should we really have sex? I mean, you're seeming a little cold to in with me today. And they have a Vulcan romantic relationship. The entire point is, okay, Spock is doing things that he thinks important, T'Pring is doing things she thinks is important. Now they get to both see that they are both doing important things, and they live happily ever after. Fair enough. It's, again, a bit trite, but it's serviceable. What is far less serviceable is the side storyline between the white woman and the Chinese woman, Kyle.
Whatever, they both look, they're basically both white. Like, it doesn't even matter. But yes, the first officer and the security chief are like, the characters on the ship make a joke about how they're boring, which is funny because they are boring. And they're like, we're not boring, we're interesting, right? So they have an episode, this episode, where they're trying to be interesting.
See, I kind of like the joke because both of these characters are goddamn boring.
Yes. They're not particularly interesting, no.
No, they're boring characters. They are genuinely boring characters. And in a way, having them go, are we boring? Are we really boring? Let's do something stupid to prove we're not boring. It's humanizing, in a way. It's still boring to watch, but that's part of the joke at this point, I guess?
Like, they did some things that made me smile. I was like, all right, that was kind of silly, but it was stupid, but it was silly. Like, they were playing with the teleporter, and they teleport each other, like, nope, it's still mint, or something like that, and they check it off a list.
Mm-hmm. The Enterprise bingo. Like, it wasn't awful, but it was just, again, I was sitting there, and I was feeling like a computer could have written this script. Like, this is the relatability episode. Two boring characters do stupid things to make the audience go, "Oh, they're retarded."
You kind of feel bad for them, though. It's like, yeah, I feel a little bit bad for them. Dr. Mbenga had probably the most fun in this episode. He did what he wanted to do.
He had the single most fulfilling experience in that he got to go fishing whilst everyone else got to do stupid shit.
Yep, he's like, because everyone's on shore leave, repairing the ship after the previous episode, right? And he's like, I'm gonna go fishing, and he puts on a dumb hat, and everyone's like, you got a dumb hat on, and he's like, fine, I'll take the hat off, you're all stupid. And then he goes fishing, while everyone else gets caught up in some silly, weird stuff. When they finally get back to his story arc in the show, it just shows him fishing. Yep. It's like, yeah, he got what he wanted. Like, the only one who got to do what he wanted, and there he is.
Which was neat. The real little star here, though, is they finally did something with Captain Pike, which was badly needed. Like, Pike has been a background character this entire series, almost. He pops in here and there to provide a word of wisdom, essentially. He feels ephemeral in a weird way. And it kinda works, because it makes him feel aloof, wise, considered in a way, a parental figure. Like, this actually works to his benefit, but it also makes it feel like the show isn't really about him, despite him being the goddamn main character. And here he got to solve a complicated diplomatic problem, which once again, better subtlety this time, by the way, because they hint at the solution right at the beginning of the episode. The first word out of these weird tiger striped cat people thing aliens is that we are a very empathetic people. Everyone always misunderstands that. And Captain Pike is like, oh, all they wanted is for us to empathize with them. And so he has a really cool little speech, and they eventually agree to ally with him. Like, that was pretty well done, actually.
Yeah, that was like Pike's little short segment in this episode. He hit it rather strong. He comes off as a good captain, a very diplomatic man, and somebody who's able to be forward thinking on his toes and quickly able to assess the situation, especially when it came to the diplomatic issue with this new race that was on the frontier between, I think, them and the Klingon Empire, which is why the Federation was trying to curtail an alliance, because they're trying to prepare for the coming storm.
Yeah, not too bad. We have a slight subplot as well, with Nurse Chapel being afraid of commitment and just wanting to have wild, unconnected sex with everything that walks, including giving Spock the bedroom eyes, and then checking out the other lesbian of the crew, just staring at her like, did you know I'm a really loose woman? Like, yes.
He's like, I don't know, I may be a medical officer, but I have a lot of venereal diseases. See, that's how she practices, okay? She's like, I need to know how to treat them, so she catches as many as she can. She's sacrificing for the crew. That's a true crew member.
That's what she's doing. It was the side plottiest of side plot. It was like it was a handful of interactions, which, again, it builds up the characters to a certain degree. Like, I do like that. They are doing a decent job of building up people now. Spock is still too much of a flaccid little penis. Like, he still is too passive. He's only done one interesting thing in the entire series so far, and that's when he turned the navigational instrument into a radar thingy in the previous episode. Beyond that, he's just kind of been there, getting yelled at occasionally.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Spock take a bit more of a proactive role in the show. And now I do get that it's not technically Spock's not in his... He's not the big cheese he will be,
He's not
but
in his prime.
Yep, because he's a younger Spock, a more inexperienced Spock.
Yeah, but he is.
But it will be nice to see it.
He's too human still right now, and that's kind of the point of this episode too. But his acting is too human. Like, he doesn't really come across as Spock. He needs, I don't know. I feel like the actor is doing an alright job, but he needs to up the coldness a couple of levels, I think.
Yep, I agree full-heartedly with that. He needs to be much more Vulcan. Like, it is nice that he's doing the whimsical Vulcan attempts at humor that fall face flat, but he needs to up the Vulcanism.
But even
I hope they learn that from the season.
So he makes a joke, right? So he and Nurse Chapel are discussing relationships. Nurse Chapel, I don't want any relationships. I just want to have unsolicited sex with random people. Or like, Spock, let me teach you about love. Like, okay then. But anyways,
yep.
she says some kind of, Earth saying, and Spock is like, does this mean this? And she's like, no, Spock, you're an idiot. And he's like, that was a joke. But there's a little bit too much light in his eyes. There's a little bit too much wry humor in him. He needs to be colder. He really does. And see, one of the problems with even having a Spock is that the original performance of Spock is damn near impossible to follow. The actor did a fantastic job about it, and he was actually highly benefited by the shit recording equipment of the time.
Yep. And Leonard Nimoy, the original actor, had a phenomenal voice too for the role. Like, his voice is great because he ended up playing was it he who voiced, was it Civ 5 or Civ 4? I forget. Either way, he's got a great voice, and that's what Leonard Nimoy's performance of Spock in the original series is fantastic. So it is hard to compete with. This guy's got a voice for it, but I think he's got to work on his, like, maybe it's not him. Maybe the directors need to push the Spock persona more.
Yes.
To like push that harder.
They definitely do need to Spockify him a bit more. Like, he is too human. Right now he's just a dude with a pair of plastic ears, and they do need to work on that.
Which, speaking of plastic ears, today they had after his surreal dream thing when he woke up, they zoom into his ears, and Arch and I were like, those are fake. Like that, it's so painfully obvious. Don't zoom into that.
Yeah, the close-up was perhaps not a brilliant idea, because those are some really, really plastic ears.
I can see the rubber from here. Is that a stamp mark? Oh my goodness. Zoom out a little bit. Don't zoom into that.
A bit too much. Maybe do it a quick brush in Photoshop at the end or something.
Yeah, something. That would have helped.
But yeah, altogether, honestly, there's not a whole lot to talk about this episode. It's character building, which is nice to see. They do need it. Like so much in this show, it's close to being really good. They just need a couple more pushes, a bit more of an experienced crew, a bit more experienced actors, a bit more experienced director. If this thing does survive and get some more seasons, I'm actually looking forward to it. Which is weird, because I'm sitting here like, oh god, Halo, please don't get a second season. And Halo's already in this one. I'm looking at Obi-Wan Kenobi and going like, please, Disney, just collapse already.
Just collapse it. Save us the pain of recording a second series of this. Oh, goodness. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, honestly, I have hopes for the show. I do think it's whatever's been filmed has already been filmed for season 1. But they, like, comparing it to, like, older Star Treks like TNG, like, and they had rough seasons to begin with. Mm-hmm. If they can just learn from this, do what they did in the past, and then build on that learned experience, Like drop any of the other references to modern things at all. You know, focus in on Spock's character. Focus a bit more on Picard, or not Picard. Excuse me,
On Picard,
Piker's
yeah.
character. Listen, Captain Picard is in the Next Generation. There's no other show with Captain Picard. None in existence. But yeah, I think there is a possibility that season 2 may, at the current rate we're going on this time and date, may actually have some merit to it.
I'm still optimistic. Which, I know everybody who's watching is like, God damn it, hate the show. You're funnier when you hate it. I know. But hey, it's actually good. Oh, good.
I'd like to be... it's okay to have some good things here and there. It's not all misery.
It doesn't all have to be garbage. And
Unless you're watching Obi-Wan.
Besides, after that last episode of Obi-Wan, I deserve to be at least a little happy.
Yeah, it's funny. This filler episode was relaxing.
Yeah.
But that's compared to Obi-Wan. And the best part is Spock on Spock choreography. Like, it's about, generic, like, TV show choreography. It's all right, serviceable. But just watching that after watching Kenobi, watching Vader and Kenobi fight, oh my god, that was pain. This was like, wow, this is actually interesting. Look he's actually like wiggling a little. He's like doing flips and stuff.
It's better choreography than Kenobi.
Not that says much, but hey, it is worth mentioning.
I do still dislike their weapons quite a lot, though.
Those weapons are silly, but I really, really hope they show us the Batla. I think it's Batla? I can't remember. It's the Klingon one. Chat knows the one I'm talking about.
And I want to point out again, I'm right on this, by the way. Spock is going to end up banging Nurse Chapel, okay? It's going to happen.
I hope not.
And...
you better be wrong.
And T'Pring's going to cuckold him. Because that's official Star Trek canon, by the way. Spock was cuckolded by his wife.
That's unfortunately true. But that's besides the point. They better not O'Brien poor Spock.
The superiority of NTR.
The thing is, his wife in this episode, she came off a little cold, but she's Vulcan. And honestly, she came off a lot more warm than I was expecting. This is good.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was worried she was going to come up. I was worried she was going to come off. In previous Star Trek show, there was a character I really liked called O'Brien. Chief Engineer O'Brien, Barch. And his wife, Keiko, anytime she shows up, it's called a Brian Suffer episode, or Suffering with Brian. Because it would just be Keiko being an absolute asshole to O'Brien all the time. Spousal abuse, I tell you. That's what I was worried about, okay? I had legitimate concerns for this episode. Because, his wife showing up, because, could be a...
You're clearly mistaken. You are being a negative Nancy Pansy. That's what you are. T'Pring's pretty good. Like, honestly... Not only do I like her character, I like her actor. She's doing a very good job of actually playing a very Vulcan character. Now, when they mind switch, I am a bit disappointed by that, because I was hoping for them to actually be visibly different, because they do behave visibly different. Like, Spock is not as Vulcan as her, so I wanted to see a full-on Vulcan Spock there for a little bit, which they didn't. In fact, he kind of remained... in emotional, like when he's talking with the pussycat people, you can see a little bit of water in his eyes. Like, it's like, that's no, that's not how you're supposed to be doing this.
Yep, that was when he was talking about, because the wife T'Pring got a little bit like flustered.
Yes.
And was basically on like, Spock's never around because he dedicates too much during the fucking diplomatic meeting, and Piker just comes in and just reels the chain and like, God damn it, woman, shut your
Yeah, a little bit of a glint in her eyes, his eyes, quote unquote. They need more Vulcan in this show. There's not enough Vulcan in this show.
Bringing out more Vulcan would be good, because then it would definitely pull on the other races. Because we have the Andurian guy who's kind of interesting, but we only have 2 alien like crew officers that I'm aware of.
Well. I shan't say the spicy thing I was thinking about.
Oh, you sick. I already know what you were going to say.
Bob.
I know you for too long. Shut up, Arch. Oh my god. That's not funny.
It is funny. And the
if
best
you know,
part,
you know.
the best part about this entire episode, Uhura barely opens her fucking mouth.
True. That's something we like noticed right away. Like, she's sitting there in the background, doesn't say anything. Next scene, doesn't say anything, and then the end, she just says 3 lines like, "All right," it's like, and
She
then
doesn't
she just never says anything.
suddenly break into the middle of the highly sensitive diplomatic negotiations to be like, I'm Uhura and I'm important. Like, I was really afraid of that because every other episode, she's taken the job of whatever specialist has been on the mission. So I was sitting there for her to just be like, I'm the diplomat now.
God, could you believe that? This is literally an episode dedicated partially to Spock, right? And then to be cucked by Uhura in the middle of it. Oh, that would be funny. That would be awful, though.
But they didn't do it, so it's all good. All in all, I'm still kind of enjoying the Star Trek, which is nice. You know, it might even be better than STD. Who knows?
Might be better than STD if I haven't heard further condemnation of Barsh's bad taste. Oh my god. He needs to be forced to watch the original shows, the older shows, yes.
STD is the superior track.
No, it isn't.